Honourable Ministers, I know that we're in a rush, Director of Education, and most importantly, Honourable Workshop colleagues. I'm just going to explain very briefly what the revised structure of the workshop agenda will be over the next couple of days. We had a conversation with Stacey on Friday, at which we agreed that it didn't seem sensible in the case of Antigua and Barbuda to focus narrowly on the concept of open educational resources without the broader context of ICT and education. So she has shared with us various documents, including your ICT and education policy from 2003, but much more importantly, your ICT master plan, which I believe was developed last year, and as well as components of the teacher education sub-plan, which will form the focus of our workshop on Wednesday and Thursday. With that in mind, what we are proposing to do, as Mark has indicated, is just to broaden the focus of the workshop slightly to enable you to actually finalize those documents with our technical assistance. Obviously, they will be final in draft and they will still need to go through a political consultation process. So we're still going to have a very heavy focus on open educational resources. I will kick off immediately after the tea break with a presentation on OER to try to give you all not a technical imagination, but a conceptual understanding of what the concept can do to help education here in Antigua and Barbuda. But from there, we're going to go into focusing on what the key educational priorities in the country are. And then I'd like to request that we go slightly back to the drawing board and just unpack a little bit more about what your strategic priorities in ICT and education are. So we're going to spend the afternoon doing that. Tomorrow, we're going to explore licensing issues. And we will, as Harris indicated, I will help to demystify some of the issues around copyright and licensing, which exist in this increasingly complex world of the internet and digital content. But I will be doing that with a view to us making some key policy proposals for consideration by the ministers, so that we get to the point where we have a full draft policy statement by not quite by the end of the workshop, but where I have all the material to enable us to prepare a draft policy statement for wider consultation and hopefully finalization. The intention there is to try to align the strategic interests in OER and in our next two-day workshop with the UNESCO ICT Competence Framework for Teachers with your practical priorities and challenges as a country, so that we ensure that we don't fall into the trap which is quite common when intergovernmental agencies collaborate with countries, that the agenda of the intergovernmental agency starts to dictate the terms of reference of the discussion. It is, and I speak, I hope, with the blessing of both Mark and Harrow when I say this, it is our profoundest desire to ensure that everything that we are doing in the next 4 days is exclusively dedicated to taking forward country strategies within Antigua and Barbuda. That will be my primary responsibility as a facilitator, but I do need your assistance with that. As you may have heard, or you pick up from my accent if you're a cricket lover, I am from South Africa. And South Africa, unfortunately, is a country of people who are not quite as polite as people in the Caribbean. So you don't have to worry about offending me. It's really impossible to offend me. If you feel that the workshop is not moving in the direction that you think it ought to, in order to advance strategic priorities in the country, please do let me know as we go along so that we can adjust. We're going to have a flexible and open format as we proceed so that we produce a result which is going to help you the most. And with that in mind, I would just like to highlight before we close for tea and enable the ministers and the media to move on, that really the key to the success of this exercise is going to be your contributions. We are here to facilitate and hopefully to guide the process, to bring in some new ideas and knowledge that you may not have had access to in the past. But really, primarily, my responsibility is to facilitate a dialogue between yourselves that enables you to refine and further develop the policy statements and the strategies that you already have in place in ICT and education, to imbue them with the new ideas that we will bring to the table, and to get to the point where we're facilitating immediate, as Mark mentioned, immediate operationalization of the things that we discuss over the next 2 days, and then again in the 2-day workshop after that. So I look forward to working with you. I think we're going to have a very productive time. And thank again the ministers, both of you, for being here. It really does, as Mark and Harry have indicated, signal the importance that you're placing on this activity. And we hope that we will raise to the expectations that I'm sure you have of what we will have delivered by the end of the week. So thank you very much. And I suggest we break for tea now. So just as you wrap up, that we break for tea now rather than continuing with the next session. And then I will pick that up immediately after the tea break. Thank you.